This is Dugout Chatter with McKay Giffen and Jacob Williams. Welcome to the Dugout.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to Dugout Chatter. I'm McKay Giffen here with my co-host Jacob Williams. How you doing today? Finally got back from Jacksonville, and today we have a special guest for you, Mr. Arthur Berstein. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good. So, start off, what brings you in today?
Well, my producing partner Dick told me to come in, so I'm here.
Well, that's good. So we heard you have a really cool project going with one of our all-time favorite players, Vladimir Guerrero. So why don't you start off telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we got a couple of projects. Well, we're grooming up with Vladimir Guerrero. We have a documentary about his life. How he started baseball, his family life. We show how he was one of the greatest defensive players of all time and one of the greatest hitters of all time. He's the first Dominican player ever to be in the National Hall of Fame as an infielder. I mean, as an outfielder, but he did it for the Angels.
Oh yeah, and got brought up with the Expos too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones.
But he was the first Dominican in the Angels Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And a premier 5-tool player, like you were saying, dude, he had an absolute rocket from right field.
He had a gun.
Yeah, and
a rifle, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's up there with Bo Jackson's arm, pretty much.
Oh yeah, he's as good as Ichiro or Judge.
Yeah, I mean, and talking about his power, the 2007 home run derby.
Yeah, he hit 527 home runs. And his son has power too. Oh, yeah. His son got robbed for the home run derby.
Yeah, looking at his son, they have the same swing.
Yeah,
the same arm. All the good genes got carried over there. So is Junior going to be in the documentary? Can we expect to see him?
We'll probably get a little bit of him. Do a little cameo for his dad.
Yeah. So
in fact, Junior when he plays baseball for Toronto, his mom makes him home cooked meals.
Wow.
Vlad's mom makes him home cooked meals. It's kind of like when Vlad grew up. They don't like to eat the American food, like they eat the food out of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. And you were saying with his power, we looked up some of his stats: 449 career home runs.
Yeah.
To be specific. So, Jacob, do you have any questions? You're a little quiet over there.
Yeah. So, basically talking about Vlad, probably some of the things we didn't mention was he was an MVP in 2004. He was a 9-time All-Star, 8-time Silver Slugger Award winner. Cool thing about him is he played 16 years in Major League Baseball, and he spent 8 years in the American League and 8 years in the National League. So he kind of got, even amount of times in each league. But Arthur, what do you think is probably the biggest takeaway when you went down to the Dominican Republic or was working on that documentary?
Well, we get to see a lot of the players, face to face, and they're comfortable when we're there. It's not like everybody's in their face like they are here in America. Mm-hmm. But you see more of a quality of life. You see the family life. You see they're very family orientated. They get to hang out with their parents, the grandparents, the kids. Everybody's around them. So it's not like you have agents and everybody just pushing everybody away.
Yeah, and what you're saying about that, they baseball's a major part of their culture.
Yes.
They take it very seriously. They love it.
Yes.
Yeah. And
baseball, I think about 11% of baseball players come from Dominican Republic today.
Yeah, and it's growing internationally, and we see a lot of guys coming over from Japan, like Shohei Ohtani, Masahiro Tanaka, Yu Darvish. It's really growing internationally as a sport.
Ohtani, they're trying to compare him to Babe Ruth.
Yeah, because Babe Ruth, he moved from pitching to right field, and Ohtani's doing the two-way act, but he's just DHing. So yeah,
there's no comparison though.
Yeah. So do you have any special moments when you guys are making this Vladimir documentary?
I mean, just hanging out with Vlad himself, it's really cool. I got to go to the Angels Gala, meet all the players like Albert Pujols, Ohtani, who you mentioned. I got to see the legend Chuck Finley.
Nice.
He's one of the coaches there. It was really cool.
So, is there any timetable schedule for this documentary? Any platforms specifically it'll be going out on?
We're thinking 2020.
Okay.
At the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Pedro Martinez. He's in the documentary. He makes a couple cameos.
Yeah. Didn't they come up together on the Expos?
Yep. They played together in the 94.
Yeah.
Also with Moses Alou too, who Pedro says has the fastest hands when hitting a fastball.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think my dad actually met him too.
I believe Moises Alou, isn't he a South Florida native where he lives?
Yes, he just recently moved here to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. I actually spoke to him a couple weeks ago.
Yep, that's awesome. Now, Arthur, you're working on that documentary. Is there anything else that you've kind of worked with?
I was actually a bat boy in 1994 for the Montreal Expos when they had all those guys.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Now,
and it was here in West Palm Beach.
Yep,
which is now Home Depot.
Yep.
Yeah.
We actually went and played where we played high school baseball at St. Lucia Community High School. The fields there, it was the spring training facilities for, I believe, the Expos and the Braves at the time.
Yeah.
So and we could still, like, on the building where they have all the field construction stuff, like to take care of the fields, you could still see kind of the Expos logo where they painted over it and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's when the Braves had a good team back then. They had like Dave Justice, Marquise Grissom, all those players.
Yeah.
Maddox and Avery.
Now, what do you have to say is probably your favorite moment of being the bat boy during that season, during that 1984 season?
Well, I was a bat boy a couple of times, but probably my favorite moment is when Damon Berryhill was trying to play a game with me and saying that I stole his gloves. They like to pick on the bat boys. He was the catcher at the time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, backtrack real quick. Did you say what platforms this documentary is coming out on?
No, we didn't say it yet. But it'll probably be all over social media. It'll be on Netflix,
nice.
Amazon, Hulu.
Yeah. So you were also mentioning some other projects you guys are doing as well. Yeah,
right now we have a dream team. We're working on a show called Sluggers, and got my TV partner here, Dick Arlett. We got Scott Loughton from CSI. We got John Hamilton from Mama's Family. We got a whole team around us, and that's a show about an ensemble cast. It's kind of like Major League, you know.
Oh, nice.
And it's gonna be a great show. We're also gonna do a movie on it. We're gonna shoot it mostly in Dominican Republic. It's gonna be kind of like a Narcos, where it's half in Spanish and half in English.
Okay. So
and it's all about baseball.
Yeah, what kind of made you decide to start?
Remember, baseball has different analogies in it because you guys are about the dugout. So I just want to throw that in there. You know, for all those people out there that don't know about baseball. So when you get to first base, you know, it's the kiss. When you get to second base, that's I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So what made you decide to start this Vladimir Guerrero documentary?
We know somebody that's really close with Vladimir Guerrero, and they pitched it to us, and we really thought it would be a great venue to show to the world.
Yeah, and just like we said, everything about him, phenomenal player, 5-tool athlete, definitely one of the greatest in history.
Oh, he's one of the greatest right fielders to ever play the game. And you can argue DH if you want to have him there.
Yeah.
And so when you were filming the documentary, what would you probably say was your favorite moment? Like, hey, that moment really stuck out. Not so much of the film, but like your experience while you were filming and interviewing him and making the documentary.
Well, I mean, you get the realism. You get to hear what they really say. I just want to let you know, most of the documentaries in Spanish. But we have so much footage of his life throughout the years of baseball that we insert there. But we hear how he expresses himself in his native language, which is really cool, and you get to see all his family and friends and how they react to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a really cool and unique experience for sure. Yeah. Let's take a look at what else we got. So, and you said like a ton of other players are going to show up in it as well. Oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a lot of for Sluggers especially. We're gonna have a lot of cameos of Major League Baseball players that will be in. So, what's the focus on Sluggers?
Sluggers, we're probably gonna do the feature first. We're gonna make the movie, and then we're gonna probably open up with a TV show after that. But it's gonna be a great movie.
Yeah, I bet.
So the Major League Baseball season just concluded a little bit ago with the Nationals winning the World Series. What do you have to say, just being a baseball fan and taking all that in? What would you probably have to say the moment that stuck out to you throughout the baseball season?
Well, I thought about the Expos because, you know, the Nationals is the Expos. It's the same organization. But I was so happy for them. You know, we have season tickets to the Nationals and Houston, ironically. So it was the Battle of West Palm Beach. So it was really cool to see both teams there, even though I'm a Yankees fan. Because when I grew up, they didn't have the Marlins. Yeah. I'm a little bit older than you guys. But, it was just great. That pitching staff is sick. I mean, you got Strasburg, you got Corbin, you got Max Scherzer, even Sanchez is solid. I mean, everybody there is really good.
Yeah. And One cool thing for us, we played for Santa Lucia's high school, and the shortstop for the Nationals, Trey Turner, went to our rival school, Park Vista. So he's a local kid. So like
He's fast.
He's got like one of the fastest home to first in the game. It's like under 3.5 seconds or something. Like he's ridiculous.
You never seen Ricky Henderson play?
Nah, I'm a little too young.
But yeah, and like just going back to that World Series a little bit, it was so cool because it's like, out of all the sports, there's never been a series to where all the road teams won. And there's like been
that was just through 6, not even to mention 7.
Yeah, and like there's been over 14,000 different series between baseball, basketball, and hockey. You know, obviously football has the 1-game elimination, and none of them has had a series where all the road teams have won. And to have all the road teams have won, and just the Nationals being able to win all 4 in Houston, and then on top of that getting through the Dodgers. And it's like, we talk about the Nationals, and it's like they almost got eliminated in that wild card game without Soto's hit, and without that they wouldn't even have gotten to the division series. You know, nonetheless got to the championship series and the World Series, which, you know, all the obstacles that the Nationals had to overcome in that playoff
one
series.
Quick thing, Kendrick's grand slam too. That was another big moment.
Anthony Rendon too.
He was like a Cinderella story the whole time, was Howie Kendrick. I mean, he's 36, pulling out some of the biggest clutch performances of his career.
He could have easily been MVP of that series.
I thought with that 2-run home run that gave him the lead, I thought the World Series MVP was in the bag. I mean, you can't really argue too much against Strasburg. He was phenomenal in Game 6 and throughout the entirety of the postseason.
Yeah,
I mean, he won 2 games in the World Series.
Yeah, I know. He won 8 in the 3rd in an elimination game on the road. But one quick thing, it was in Houston. Now we have all these scandals coming out dating back to 2017. They're stealing signs. They have a camera placed in center. I mean, what do you make of this?
Well, you know, these guys are all professionals. You could tell somebody where it's going to be hit, where it's going to be pitched, but the best of the best. If you had Nolan Ryan on the mound, he threw 7 no-hitters, and Sandy Koufax threw 6. It doesn't matter what sign you're going to throw at them. They ain't going to hit it.
One quick analogy: it's like facing Mariano Rivera. You know, the cutter's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And still can't hit it,
and nobody can hit it except David Ortiz at one time. But
let's not talk about that. I'm a Yankees fan too.
Me too. In fact, my dad went last night to Luis Severino's wedding, and Chapman was there, and
that's
a couple of baseball legends. It was cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, got a lot of talent in one building, a lot of 100-mile-per-hour fastballs in one place. Yeah, but that
guy's a stud, Chapman.
Yeah,
I saw him throw 106 at the Cubs World Series.
Goodness gracious.
And he was he was on the Cubs World Series team. Then he's like, hey, I loved it so much in New York, I'm gonna go back.
Yeah.
So did you get to meet Chapman?
I have not met him yet. I'm looking forward to it.
So who are some of the interesting baseball players you've met?
I've actually met Pete Rose. In fact, Pete used to have his show down in Gateway when he had his restaurant.
Oh, we had Pete Rose's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there a lot as a kid.
Yeah, he was great. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I actually have a funny story of obviously, you know, the Nationals and Astros spring train here in West Palm Beach. And, you know, I go over there and I'll go to the fields a lot, and I see Max Scherzer, and usually around every single day after he pitches, he runs at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I saw it one time after he pitched on a Sunday. I went and then after that I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go wait and maybe try to get a ball signed by him. So, you know, I know a little bit about him. You know, he went to Missouri. He wears number 31. He got his number retired by the University of Missouri. And so I was running with him. I wore number 31 because I'm such a big fan of him. So I was running with him, talked to him a little bit. He was kind of being like a little rude just because he's trying to focus on his running. But like I got to run with him and stuff like that, which was pretty cool.
That's
and stuff
awesome.
like that. So that's like a cool little Max Scherzer story, you know. And he was big time, especially coming off that neck injury in the World Series. But yeah, one question that we've discussed, Arthur, in a previous video is, how funny is it that Bryce Harper goes and spends all those years with the Washington Nationals? They have, you know, not a lot of success. And besides, I think maybe one postseason in 2014 where he kind of did okay.
Yeah, against the Giants.
He's really struggled. He leaves the Nationals, and he's always been a guy that we kind of talked about that it's kind of more about me. It's how I'm doing, you know.
Right.
When he doesn't get the big hit, he kind of slams the bat down and has, like, I wouldn't say a hissy fit, but, you know, creates some drama, makes it about him.
Here's my take on it. You know, baseball's a team sport. We all know this.
Yeah.
But everybody would want Bryce Harper on the team. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Same with Manny Machado. We can name players. I mean, I could name Barry Bonds in the past. Everybody would want them on their team, even though sometimes they could get angry and do crazy stuff.
I mean,
but Corbin was added on the team, who's a stud. He wasn't there when Harper played, and they had that guy Soto, who the owner knew was coming up. He's a big time stud, and they played the same position. So you can't,
Robles,
Robles, but you can't have the same guy playing the same position, and move him out. It's just not going to be comfortable.
Yeah.
But Philadelphia believed him. They paid him $25 million, and
But one thing I have to say to like him talking about Harper slamming the bat, like I know it doesn't necessarily make him a bad teammate, but the other guys in the dugout kind of got to feed off that. That gives like more negative energy to your team. I mean, because Bryce Harper is your face of the franchise, your marquee player. That just doesn't set a good precedent for the rest of your team.
Yeah, but if somebody threw you $100 million, you'd be like, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah, like
I'm talking about more of the on the field actions.
He's just a passionate player. Remember, he played 3 positions when he was out there. He started off as a catcher. He came out a young kid. He went to right field. He played a little bit of first base. I mean, the guy did whatever they asked him to do.
Yeah,
and he dropped out of high school, got his GED, went straight to college, and he's in the big leagues at 19. So that's that's a lot to mentally take in at once. Like, you're one of the most hyped prospects as a teenager.
I mean, he has a lot of pressure his whole life.
Yeah. And now he's got a big payday.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would love to have that payday, $25 million a year. And that's just to play baseball. That's not including his endorsements.
Yeah.
Well, the Nationals also gave him an offer, but the offer dated through till he's 65. It was a qualifying offer around the same the Phillies were offering him. So, I mean, where would you rather go? Back to the Nationals? I mean, you kind of get lower tax rates too because it's elongated till you're 65 instead of throughout the course of each season.
Well, every sports writer in America was saying the Phillies were going to win the World Series in the beginning of the year based on the talent on the team. So he made the decision he thought was right, and he chose that team. Mm-hmm. He probably should have stayed. I mean, we could all argue he should have stayed with the Washington.
Hindsight's 2020.
But baseball's the most unpredictable sport to win. It doesn't matter how much money you throw, and you have the best players out there. Anybody can win baseball any given night.
Yeah.
Just look at Kansas City.
Yeah, in 2015, first time in 35 years. I mean, Ned Yost was a genius with the way he managed that team. And that was a lot of homegrown talent, too. Like guys Moustakis, Locane, Eric Hosmer. They even had Omar Infante in the later years of his career. Just a lot of scrappy, hungry guys.
But
I think Greinke was there, too.
Yeah. One thing I would have to say about the Nationals is, like I said, I think it was all the right decision for Harper to take the money and go to Philadelphia. But the Nationals this year in the postseason, even in the wild card game, compared to other series where they've won the division and gone to the division series, is like I feel like the team was closer. I feel like Harper and that contract and everybody talking about, are the Nationals going to pay him? Is he going to resign? I feel like was such a big distraction, and they kind of got that distraction out of the way, and they got some veterans in there like Howie Kendrick, Brian Dozier, Yan Gomes, and
the closer too,
Kurt
Suzuki. And like I think they said that the Nationals are one of the oldest teams in baseball, and I feel like that youngness of like Juan Soto, Victor Robles with that experience really meshed together well, and especially the distraction of Harper, they were really able to come together as a team, and like you actually saw it play out on the field.
But you know what the most important thing the Nationals did?
What?
They went to the White House. I have to throw it in there because
Sean,
I'm not being political here. I'm just saying it's just respect for the president. It doesn't matter who it is.
Sean Doolittle declined it.
For the kids to see that.
Sean Doolittle declined it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
He's entitled to.
Yeah, no, I think that's entirely fine.
I'm just glad the organization went as it's good for the children to see all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It kind of,
no matter who's in office.
It kind of makes it like less compartmentalized to say, hey, we're going to go and celebrate our championship at the White House. I think that's
it's
just
like an honor.
Yeah.
And one thing I would have to say about that, like you said, no matter who's in office, people don't agree with, the previous president, people don't agree with the president we have now.
Right.
But it's like we all have a common goal. We have more, in common than we do, that we don't have in common. And I feel like, going to the White House and trying to create peace instead of trying to create other issues is like a positive thing instead of a negative.
Especially as I get older, I have kids, so I gotta tell them, why are these people not going? It's kind of awkward conversation with your kid.
Yeah. So, any other cool projects you're working on that you want to tell us about?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of cool projects. We have a show that we're developing. It's called The World of Polo. It's about polo, and we have over 3,000 hours of footage that we have incorporated. We just hired a very famous host. I won't say the name of it, but he's very famous. And we're also developing a movie called Stealing Elvis. It's about the guys that stole the body of Elvis Presley. It's based on a true story. We have the rights to the documentary, The Man Who Dared. It got over 60,000 hits. We're also doing a show with Jason Jackson, from the Miami Heat. He's the host of our show. It's called Nail That Beat. It's basically about like it's kind of like Name That Tune.
A game show.
It's like a game show, but it's going to be like with beats, and you're going to guess
with
who
music.
the name of it. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We have so much stuff that we're working on.
Yeah, so how'd you find the time to come in?
When God tells me I'm here, and his name is Dick Arlett.
Now, I know you're doing another documentary on Netflix. It's called Brawlers. Do you want to go and talk about that a little bit?
Well, it was a movie that I produced. It's a feature. It's called Brawler. It's about Chuck Wepner. He fought Muhammad Ali in the 70s, and his claim to fame was he actually sued Sylvester Stallone for over $20 million for using his publicity rights for Rocky. He's considered the real Rocky. We have Amy Smart, Zach McGowan, Taryn Manning, Joe Pantalone, Jason Richter. A lot of good cast in there. Got a lot of people from Soprano.
That's really cool.
And it's a sports movie, so it relates to you guys because you guys like sports.
We do.
And in fact, there's actually a scene about the guy forging. It was sports memorabilia, and he forged Babe Ruth balls of all things. They made over $10 million a month.
He's kind of like
back in the late 90s. He's
kind of like whenever you were to if you were to ask anyone about baseball, Babe Ruth is like a player that I think everyone would know. So that's a big one to forge.
I mean, a lot of people think he's the greatest player of all time.
Yeah,
he's in my top 5, but I'm a big Lou Gehrig fan.
I mean, my counter argument to Babe Ruth was I don't think he'd be able to play today.
He'd be by far better than today. Back when he played, the ballparks were way bigger than they are today. The mounds were lowered. The guy can run, field, play any position that he wanted to.
Yeah. And
he can even switch hit if he wanted to.
One thing about Lou Gehrig, to all the viewers out there, personally, Lou Gehrig is like one of my favorite baseball players just because of his speech. The luckiest man alive speech. Just the way he carried himself, the way how he had to wait for his opportunity, and then once he was ready to play every single day. He came ready to play, and then once he got his opportunity, he just took advantage of it.
And one cool thing about that, like you're saying, he was ready to play every day. He was the Iron Horse, and once his ALS got really bad, he sat himself. That's how much of a team player he was. Cal Ripken broke that streak.
No, but he broke the streak because Lou Gehrig died.
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig would have continued that streak. He was only 36 when he retired. But Cal Ripken played to his 40s.
Lou Gehrig was like such a good teammate that he knew like his illness was getting bad. He was the one who took himself out of the lineup.
He did what was best for the team.
I was telling you guys earlier that I don't know if you know this, but he had a Triple Crown in 1931, and he lost to Mickey Cochran because his team came in second. How the heck do you win? That's the thing about my issues with baseball. They never really pick the right guy that always gets the best. That should be the MVP.
Yeah, because the MVP award's kind of like it's an interesting dynamic because it's kind of like the best player, but the best player helps like their winning team win. So like I've heard the argument: should you have a best player award that's separate from the MVP award to highlight the best performance of the season, which is the question,
or best defensive award?
Yeah, because you look at MVP. What does MVP stand for? Most valuable player. So it's like most valuable to their team. Which player is that? And I feel like the award we got to understand what the award is, what MVP means, and then give the award specifically to that meaning.
I mean, I saw in the 70s Brooks Robinson would win some MVPs, but it's because his defense was so good. Besides being a hitter at that time, the guy had 16 Gold Gloves.
So basically, a little bit about how Dugout Chatter became to be is McKay and I. We love baseball. We always talk about baseball. We feel like we're very knowledgeable in the sport, and I feel like I'm very knowledgeable in like a lot of the sports more than just baseball. Between basketball and football and hockey, and McKay, he kind of specializes more in baseball. So that's why we wanted to create a channel specifically on baseball. So Dugout Chatter is basically a podcast where we go and we'll do videos of upcoming topics or big topics going on in baseball, and then we also do like little funny shorts or skits.
Yeah.
So we were going and we were talking, and we always talk about baseball. And we're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to create a podcast and see how it goes, and see if people like the stuff that we share and the things that we talk about and what we say and the stories that we have, because we've been around baseball a lot. So that's kind of where the idea came from creating Dugout Chatter.
Yeah, and for me, like, I started playing baseball when I was 5 years old.
What position?
I played second, shortstop, catch, pitched. I played like everywhere in the infield mostly. And then, like, when it came time to hang the cleats up, it kind of takes like a few years. Oh, who am I? What am I doing?
Right.
And then, like, I kind of found like a passion through like a medium of broadcasting, which I was able to combine with my love for baseball, and henceforth continue my passion for the game through this outlet. So it's still a way of expressing my love for baseball and everything. It taught me the life lessons I've learned over the course of my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how'd you guys come up with the name The Dugout? Why not like the mound? You know?
The
batter's box.
How it kind of came was we wanted it to be like you're hearing baseball like you're in the dugout. You're hearing it from a player's perspective. People who've been there before, like, not make it like super official, but it's kind of like a medium between you get a baseball player's point of view on what's going on, not just like a news outlet.
Yeah, and one thing that McKay and I discussed about is we were always talking about is like, because we missed playing high school baseball. For us was probably the most fun we've ever had.
We were together every day for 4 years.
And what was the one thing that we loved so much? We loved playing in the games. We loved playing baseball. We loved traveling. We loved going to different places and the opportunities that playing baseball offered us. But probably the one thing that stuck out the most to us is whenever we were in the dugout, just hanging out, just being kids and like enjoying the game, that was where we had the most fun. So we're like, okay, we usually did that in the dugout, and then what goes on in the dugout where we had the most fun is chatter. So it's basically, we wanted to create, that's where we kind of found the name of chatter. So we're talking about stuff, and then in the dugout, so dugout specifically comes to baseball, so it's talking about baseball stuff. Dugout chatter.
Yeah, it kind of gives it that point of view and makes it a setting.
So how many games you guys play on each other in the dugout?
How many games?
Oh man, we joke around a lot, especially in some of our past videos. I'll give McKay a hard time. Well, I think after this video, we're gonna have to drug test McKay. He'll give me a hard time.
Let's go outside.
Yeah, it's just having fun.
Yeah, try to have a loose, just basically give honest feedback on what we think. Be a little bit different, and then basically just describe what we see and give our opinion, and we try to go and have a little bit of a filter, but not
Yeah.
Do you guys do a lot of baseball trivia?
No, we haven't done really baseball trivia on the show. It's kind of been like covering news and doing skits based on some stuff that happened. Like one video we did, so the Astros pitcher Jose Ucurti, he threw game 4. Like once I saw him come up, graphic comes up, first career at bat in the World Series, and he looks like he hasn't swung a bat in like 15 years, so we kind of just made a funny skit on that, like, how to hit in the World Series as an American League pitcher. So I kind of give interesting twists and turns, as well as like bringing the news and our perspective to you.
Yeah, we also did another video on like Bryce Harper. So I wore a Bryce Harper shirt and had a Nationals hat on, and basically what we did is I played Bryce Harper, and basically what
people
his
didn't
reaction,
think that.
Yeah, basically what his reaction would be to the Nationals going to the World Series, and how he would be upset, because it's like he's gonna say, oh yeah, I wish nothing but the luck, but he wishes he was on the team. So basically that behind the scenes little skit, little short of something that I feel like is unique to us, and like something that McKay and I talk about that we wanted to be able to go and put into a video, and hopefully some other people would go and find that a little bit funny and enjoy it.
Yeah, well, some people thought that we were dead serious and we didn't like Bryce Harper.
Right.
And some people thought we had Bryce Harper.
Some people thought we just have Bryce Harper on hotline, where we can just call him and say, oh, Bryce, yeah, can you have 2 minutes to go and shoot a video with us? So it's funny seeing some of the reactions and stuff like that. But we definitely go and we'll offer our audience questions and say, hey, who do you think's going to win the division? Because we'll come up with predictions. Yeah, make sure you leave a comment below. So we definitely try to be interactive with our audience.
Yeah, post our bracket, then give the question to the audience. What's your bracket? What do you think? And like one thing was, I picked the Dodgers in the Washington and Dodgers series. I picked the Nationals to win. I ended up being right, and then he's like, oh, we need to give you a drug test.
Yeah,
I had Nationals and Yankees. Those were the two teams.
Nationals and that's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Howie Kendrick bailed me out. I had the Yankees and the Cardinals.
Yep, and I had the Astros and the Cardinals. And we both, the funny thing is we said, hey,
the American League's gonna win.
American League, no matter what, like the winner of the Yankees Astros series is going to win the World Series, and then the Nationals end up winning the World Series.
And we were calling the Yankees Astros series
What do you think about a series from the Dominican Republic about baseball?
Oh, like do a game in the Dominican Republic? All that.
Series.
Oh
A
yeah,
series?
that'd
be awesome.
I
Like
know they did the
Mexico series and the London series.
Yeah, they did didn't they do the Dominican series this past year? And I think they had the Twins and the Indians.
Yeah.
And Francisco Lindor hit that home run, and he's from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And like because when the DR, you don't have specifically a team that you're rooting for. You're kind of rooting for some of the players. And like when Francisco hit that home run, like the whole entire stadium erupted. It was awesome. It was great. So I think they should definitely do more series. They did for the first time ever the London series.
That was
They've
awesome.
done Mexico series, I think, with the Cardinals and the Braves, or I believe another team. But it's cool seeing Major League Baseball take steps forwards to go internationally, and especially have some teams that are playing outside the states.
Well, they have 32 teams in the Dominican Republic. Like their own, they have like all their own facilities, like major league facilities.
Yeah.
Every team has their own, and it's all spread out.
And like one cool thing that you're saying, baseball's going back into the Olympics in 2020 and then the World Baseball Classic in 2021. So like, and sometimes in the off season, like they'll send some players over to Japan and have an MLB team playing against Japan teams. Like I love seeing this stuff grow internationally as a sport. It's like kind of like a worldwide community wrapped in one game.
Let me ask you a question. You borought that up. So, these baseball players, their whole life, we base everything off their career to go in the Hall of Fame. Do you think, both of you, that because if a player's playing the Olympics, should that be part of it too? Because they're representing.
I'll let you go first, Jacob.
Like guys like Mark McGwire, Dwight Gooden.
Personally, me. You go and look at like the Basketball Hall of Fame, and they don't have a college basketball Hall of Fame or an NBA Hall of Fame. It's just basketball
They have
Hall
an
of
NBA
Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
oh,
it's Boston.
Because I know like Carmelo Anthony and how he's never won a ring, but he has medals with Team USA. He has, like you said, over 25,000 points, and he also won a national championship with Syracuse. I think you should definitely include World Baseball Classic and the Olympics. Involved with. Being able to go in the Hall of Fame. You look at baseball and there's teams like Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, like the Netherlands went to the semifinals, Japan, so it's not like the USA just dominates baseball.
No, they don't.
No, they just won their first one.
Yeah, first World Baseball Classic. And I think you should definitely go in World Baseball Classics, and the Olympics should definitely be a part in, seeing if somebody should be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and it's kind of ridiculous they don't even count postseason stats for Hall of Fame voting.
But let's talk about that. Postseason stats. It's a little misleading when we watch it on national TV, because a lot of guys that you said that couldn't play today, like Babe Ruth, those were World Series stats when they played, and they're talking about postseason stats. The postseason's changed so many times. Being on the World Series versus being in a playoff game versus being a one elimination game. Postseason they should do it differently. Postseason stats and World Series stats. They should break it up.
That's fair. I think they should include all that stuff. Like you're playing and you're playing to win. Why not include it? That kind of shows your tenure in different settings against different countries, different stakes of games. It should all count.
I think you should include it. But say if you have a guy that has not played a lot of postseason
don't count it
games,
against him.
Don't count it against him, because it's not his
like
fault.
Mark Lemke?
Yeah, like absolutely. Like for me,
Who?
Like for me, I think definitely count it for somebody that's been there, because you look at Julian Edelman, and it's like people, if he wouldn't have had the great
First
stats
Jewish
that
wide
he
receiver.
has, if he doesn't have the career stats that he has, in the postseason, he wouldn't even be considered for the Hall of Fame. But you can't count somebody that's had a good career that hasn't played in the playoffs as much as he has against him.
Well, like Robert Horry, he has 7 rings.
Yep, absolutely. So I would have to say yes, include World Baseball Classic in the
I
Olympics.
agree with you 100%.
Me too.
Yeah.
Sold.
So the wish list?
Yeah, who would be your guys' wish list, like to see as like players or upcoming players or managers on a TV show or a movie?
On a TV show, I think it'd be awesome to see Tony La Russa.
Okay.
Vlad, like you guys are doing, that's awesome. Love Vlad.
By the way, they're now both on the same team. Just want to let you know. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah, La Russa went to
Angels.
Yeah, so that'd be cool. I mean, Jeter's like one of my all-time idols. Growing up, I always wore number 2. That'd be awesome for me. Like ton of guys that I could pick from the Yankees. Are we bringing live or dead just for hypothetical fun?
It could be current players, it could be legends, it could be whatever you want.
Oh my god, I don't think the list would ever end for me.
Well, let's say a top 5.
All right, top 5. top 5 players and managers, mix them into one.
Whatever you want.
It's your list. McKay, you want to go with your list first?
You can even pick their cheerleaders if you want. Doesn't matter.
All of them. So, Derek Jeter, Tony La Russa, Joe Torre, to name a few. Oh man, God,
this is tough. This is not easy.
No, because it's like I think Vlad would be awesome too. Ichiro would be cool. Albert Pujols would be cool. Jim Edmonds, Ken Griffey Jr. Like the list goes on all day.
It's great,
like,
great
God,
names.
How do you just pick 5? Jacob.
Oh, you already got 6.
I'm not good at this.
One guy that I would probably have to say is one of the newer guys is that I'm a fan of is Pete Alonso. I'm a big Florida
he's an
Gators
awesome
guy,
dude.
and he went to UF, so I would probably say he's probably one guy on my list. Ozzie Smith would be cool just because, because like I'm a little bit of a Cardinals fan, so that would be cool.
I met him once. I asked him if he could still do the backflip.
Really? Yeah, I've met him at spring training. I've met like a lot of the Cardinals players and a lot of those guys that spring train down here. Josh Beckett would be one just because growing up down here, Marlins fan, and him and the whole 03 World Series.
Not Yelich?
No. I love Yelich. He's a great guy, but it's like, oh man, the Marlins. Goodness, they just shake my head.
It's not his fault.
No, it's not. He contributed. He did. But for sure, I'd go Jeter and La Russa 100%. I just think Tony La Russa is one of the most brilliant managers on the field. And what was kind of cool, after the Cardinals won the World Series, I believe in 2011, the next year, like he retired, but he came back to manage the All-Star game, and then he won that too as a manager. So he was just like one of the most brilliant baseball minds I've ever seen.
By far. And he's going to help the Angels a lot.
Yeah. And,
especially with your boy Trout.
Oh, yeah. No, Trout's, I mean, what I like about him too, he's a great guy off the field as he is on the field. I think all that stuff counts the same. I mean, it's hard for me to separate an artist from their art.
Yep.
He's a 5-tool athlete. He's the real deal.
Yeah, he definitely one of the greatest I've ever seen put on a jersey.
Absolutely.
So, anyone else to try to add to your wish list, Jacob?
I don't know. Basically, anybody that would want to be a part of it, just because for me, there's so many different names that I could say
and so
that
many
I
different
can't.
Stories.
Yeah, that I don't know if I could create a top 5 because it's like I can interchange guys out.
Would you want to see like legends out on there, like Koufax?
Definitely legends. Yogi Berra would definitely be one guy. You know, obviously
he has the most rings,
here.
by the way. 10 rings.
Ted Williams is definitely one, just because my last name's
he's
Williams.
Dead. He can't come.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
Isn't
bring
his head frozen?
Yeah, we'll bring his DNA. We'll bring it out there.
Nice.
Who else?
Well, we can recreate Ted.
Yes.
Yeah. Him and Walt Disney.
Yep. He's still alive, you know.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All good.
Well, Arthur, thank you very, very much for coming in. A lot of cool stories, met a lot of cool guys. I don't know, just thank you for coming in today.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Especially you being a Yankee fan. I love it.
Hey, we appreciate it. That's part of the deal.
He wears that hat with pride.
Yep, I wear that hat. You come in, give a little bit of a discussion about your stuff, and we really appreciate you coming in and taking the time.
Yeah.
You got it. Anytime you want to talk sports, I'm here.
Yeah, and as we always say, Jacob and I, next time, see you in the dugout.